name's Scott Fromey, and welcome to the Backwoodsman Institute. Well, today I'd like to cover a topic that, it pretty well should concern most everybody out there that goes into the outdoors, and that's hypothermia. Hypothermia is probably our #1 threat out here in the outdoors. Hypothermia is responsible for taking more lives in the outdoors than any other single type of event. That's why here at the Backwoodsman Institute, I feel it's important for us to discuss hypothermia, the symptoms of hypothermia, early symptoms so you can treat it, and how to survive it. What is hypothermia? Hypothermia is basically where you're freezing to death. Your body produces heat because it has to maintain a temperature of 98.6 degrees, and when you get in an environment that it can't generate that much heat and maintain that, your body's temperature starts dropping, and it don't take a whole lot of degrees to start dropping before it starts taking effect, and before long that you actually succumb to hypothermia, you die. More cases of hypothermia happen in the early spring and the late fall. You say, well, why is it? Why? That sounds like something that should happen in the wintertime. Well, in the wintertime, we're prepared for the cold. In the spring and the fall, it's warm during the daytime, so we don't really think that, hey, I need to carry a jacket along, or, all of a sudden here comes a thunderstorm or rainstorm and I get wet, and most of the time hypothermia involves some type of water. You're either going to be falling in the water, you're going to be caught up in a rainstorm, or you're going to be just doing a lot of sweating. So basically, like I say, in the spring and the fall, we're just not prepared for it. We think we're okay, we're just going to go out for a little bit, but next it's raining and we're soaked, and that's when we find ourselves getting into a bad situation fast. Now, there's a creek behind me, and for instructional purposes only, I want to put myself in a situation that could be potentially life-threatening and show you guys how to provide self-aid to yourself and get yourself out of that type of situation that could be life-threatening. Okay, whew, that's cold water. Now, what's the first thing that I need to be doing when something like that is, I have to be getting out of these wet clothes some way, somehow. Here's what's happening as far as what's going on in my body right now is since I'm cold, the core temperature, I'm trying to save myself, so my body is starting to shut down the blood flow to my extremities, and actually I can feel it's kind of like a warmer tingling sensation right now, and that's going to go on. So I have a very short amount of time before, like I said, other factors, once I start losing blood flow into my extremities and my legs and my fingers, I can do like a little test. I can still have coordination in my fingers right now, but as my body cools off, I'm going to lose that coordination, and then I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to start shivering. So right now is a critical time. I got really minutes. It's 40 degrees out and it's raining, and you can't tell, but every once in a while there's pretty good wind comes by, so that kind of stuff, I'm going to lose a lot of heat through these wet clothes. Now, I got on cotton clothing, and that is the absolutely wrong thing to wear in the wintertime, because cotton is the type of clothing, it's designed to cool you off. We wear cotton in the summertime, so as we perspire a little bit, that wind that comes along, it kind of cools us off a little bit. So, and then cools our temperature. We do not want that to happen now. We're trying to generate heat and build ourselves, build our furnace, keep our heat up inside us. So the type of clothing that I should be wearing is either wool or polypropylene type of material. And what that does, it retains its insulating value even when it's wet. So even if I had got wet with wool on, I can still, maintain that insulating value in it, at least till I can go get help. Now, if you find yourself in this type of situation, if you have to go, you don't have a choice. You can't wait it out. You're not going to get drier. They say, oh, build a fire. Well, most of the time, by the time you gather your stuff and maintain a fire, you've got to have a pretty good fire and maintain that to keep yourself going. So I don't recommend building a fire as of yet. First thing I got to do is either get out of this clothing or trying to restrict some of my heat loss that's going to take place. Now, everything that my body is doing right now in survival mode is to try and stay warm. Now, I can help myself out a little bit by putting some type of cloth over my mouth, because even right now all my energy is going to heating up the outside, and in order to utilize air, I have to raise that temperature of that air that I intake to 98.6 degrees so my body can use it. So I can cover my mouth and try and stimulate where my body doesn't have to work that air, heat that air up as fast to give me a little bit more time for self-aid here.